The weekly chapter, Leh-Leha. It talks about Al-Masadek, the king of Judea, who was in Jerusalem, and I will be talking about a series of prophecies about Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the city of humility. It restricts the anger of God. 2 Proverbs 12:7 means God isn't angry when He looks upon upon Jerusalem. God Himself is the high and the glorified, inhabited in tyrants, whose name is holy. He lives in the heavens and the holy places, with a conferent and humble spirit in the heavens of heavenly Jerusalem. Hebrews 12:23. He is humble and treble at His word, and His word is high. Isaiah 66:2. To resist His spirit is resistible of the humble. Isaiah 57:15. The Lord is high and humble sees. Psalm 137:6. He sees the humble. God sends us the Mashiach, humble heart, that we have to come to learn humbleness from Him. Matthew 11:29. Humble to Mary gave her to be the mother of Mashiach, who was born through her. Luke 1:48. Of the seed of David. Romans 1:1-3. By Joseph. 1 John 1:45. The Lord will live the land of the humble people. Lord will give and send water upon the land of the humble people. Give grace to the humble. God will give grace to the humble. Luke 4:6, Peter 5:5. So we have to follow the humbleness. Romans 12:16, 1 Peter 3:8. To read one another's wisdom from above. Philippians 2:3. Because God is wise, and He gives therefore toward the wise. It is necessary to show wisdom and work for the Lord in His vine year with all wisdom. Daniel 20:19. That God requests of every man. Mishiah 6:8. Because the fear of the Lord, who removes the mind, He removes. Lovens 28:28. It comes to humble. Proverbs 22:4. With the humble wisdom. Proverbs 11:2. The Lord heart and desires good and righteousness. Psalm 9:38. He has humble spirit, and His servants also have humble spirit. Psalm 33:19. Eventually the humbleness. Psalm 146:6. His glorified wisdom saves many. Psalms 149:4. It confirms and helps the people. 2 Corinthians 7:6. We must learn from my dear humble. We must learn from the humbleness of Mashiach, and how He had to be humble himself, to be obedient to God, even unto death. Philippians 2:8. Lord overturned the sentence on the relationship of the king, Mashiach, and others. 3 Thessalonians 21:29. 2 Thessalonians 22:19. Proverbs 33:12-23. Lord leads chariots of us through the desert, which we born into the world to suffer. Philippians 5:7. And the 70 who is leading us, who for over 80 years carried Israel for 40 years in the wilderness to humble them, and in this leaders He leads us through the desert and through suffering and miseries, through these storms and uncollegaries of the life, so we too may repent through poverty and through testing and even through wealth, that to test us to see how will we resolve these problems. Will we come to Him or will we not? To see how humble are we in front of Him. Will we keep His commandments or not? Like it says in the Exodus, Lord is a humble, and those that walk proudly in Daniel 3:34 will not. God can able to humble them, and those like the Pharaoh cannot be humble. Ecclesiastes 10:3, because God had to humble the Pharaoh. to the trial court, and those of the humble to them. And the mean man humbled the proud head to find out. Isaiah 5:15, 2 Peter 7:14. So dear humbled over servant under the strong hand of God, and he will exile us. 1 Peter 5:6. In the spiritual Jerusalem where God lives with the humbleness spirit. Hebrews 12:23. Dear brothers, so also you can be humble too.